Hey, it's Mike. I'm back doing another video. It's been a little while. It's been over a month, I think. Long time no see. Life's just been really busy lately, and Halloween and all that stuff. When you got kids and all that jazz, takes up a lot of your time. Work takes up a lot of time. Just life in general, and I'm sure we all know how that is. This video is going to be kind of a recap of where concerts I've been to and concerts I'm going to, and records I've ordered, records I purchased. I went to a record show, so records I purchased at a record show, and no vinyl finds though. I've been going and browsing at record stores and just haven't had any luck lately, so it's just kind of the funk I'm in. So anyway, without further ado, let's get going with this video. So, God, when was it? I can't even remember how long ago it was, but it was sometime in October. We had back-to-back concerts to go to. One night we went to see Blonde Redhead, which is a favorite of mine, and it's a band that I've just, after started dating Courtney, it's a band that she's gotten into really well as well. And so I got us tickets to go see them. Finally, they came here to Phoenix after, I don't know. Last time I saw them in Phoenix, God, it was many years, well over a decade ago, many years ago. I saw them a couple times, and then I saw them out in Raleigh, and now this is the fourth time I've seen them. They played at a place called the Crescent Ballroom, which is a really small little club, which is really nice to see them in a place like that. And you stand right up by the stage and the band's like right there. So that was a really cool experience to see a band like that play in such a place. And they were fantastic. Blonde Redhead was fantastic. And, you know, they've gotten older as I have. And but they looked and sounded just absolutely fantastic. They just didn't miss a beat. Yeah, it was just great. So I'll talk about, so this is my t-shirt I got. It's got the strawberry on it, which is on the cover of their latest album. And it has their Blonde Redhead logo on the back in black. I got a bag, a little tote bag kind of thing that's got their designs from the latest album on it, Sit Down for Dinner. So that's pretty cool. That was dirt cheap. So this is the album that they released, God, what was it, a year ago? And really good album. And they played, most of the songs they played were off of this album. They did play one song off of Penny Sparkle called Here Sometimes. That was like in the encore part of the night. They played a bunch of songs off this album, which is my favorite album of theirs, 23. So I'm really happy they played a lot from here. So that was good. I think they played a couple of songs off of Misery is a Butterfly, which is right up there as one of my top favorite albums of theirs. So they did play one or two songs off of that. And they played an oldie but a goodie. They played Bipolar off of this album. Fake Can Be Just As Good. Fake Can Be Just As Good. And the first time I ever saw them in concert was supporting this album. And I saw them in they played in a record store, and everybody was sitting on the floor, and it was very small and informal and really cool way to see them way back when. So really happy to have seen Blonde Redhead. Great, fantastic show. Then the following night, Courtney and I and my daughter went to go see Cigarettes After Sex. This is their most recent album called X's. And they played a lot of songs off of this, plus some old favorites. It was everything that you could want in the set list from them. There was one song I wanted them to play that they did, and I can't remember the name of the title of it, but off the top of my head. But they played a great show, and it was really just visually really nice. And we had really good seats down pretty close to the stage. I was in a big hockey arena, so it was a very large arena compared to last time we saw them was, God, was it a year or two ago? And we saw them at the Desert Financial Theater or something, and it was about half the size or much smaller, but still a pretty big place. But anyway, Cigarettes After Sex, great show. daughter loved it. Really happy we could take her this time. I didn't realize that she liked the band so much when we went to see them last time. So she's like, if they ever come again, get me tickets. So we did, and took her. So anyway, that's my update on the concerts I've seen recently. I'm gonna go see Amy Mann. I think next weekend, next Saturday, a week from today, I'm gonna see Amy Mann in Scottsdale. And then next month, on the 13th, is Billie Eilish is coming to play in Phoenix. Taking my daughter to that. And yeah, we've got like pit seats or whatever. Not seats, but we're going to be standing down by the stage. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Next order of business, Tucson Record Show, October 26th. I went to this one 2 years ago, and then last year I forgot about it. Just completely skipped my consciousness or whatever, so I didn't go last year. So I went back again this year. That was on the 26th, on a Saturday. Drove down by myself really early in the morning and made it there. So I got like the early entry, which was at 8 o'clock. You pay a little bit extra and you can go in at 8 instead of 9. And not that it was necessarily worth it. Not a lot to choose from there. It was a lot of records that I liked, but I'd already had them, so I wasn't looking to get doubles or triples or whatever. And there was one record that was like a grail of mine, but I had just purchased it like a couple weeks before the record show, so that's one I'm going to show here in a minute. So I didn't need to buy a second one, so I skipped on that one. They had, there was a Dawn of the Dickies, the debut album from the Dickies. That's one that's been on my want list for a long time, but it was really beat up, and I wasn't going to pay top dollar for a beat up record, so I'll just wait and order it or get it through. If I don't find it in the wild, then I'll just order it through Discogs when I've come across a decent copy that's not too expensive. So I passed on that, passed on a couple other things, but really, there were a couple of Agent Orange records, but I actually got those same two Agent Orange records at the last Tucson record show 2 years ago, so I didn't need more copies of it. I'm fine with what I've got. So I just thought that was kind of random that I would run into both of those records because they're not something that you run into very often, but that was cool seeing those, but I didn't need them again. Yeah, so there were a few punk records here and there, but I already had them in one form or another, so I just wasn't looking to just spend a bunch of money for no reason. I did get 2 records, though. I purchased, and I had like buyer's remorse once I got home with it, but I paid decent money. I paid pretty good money for a copy of Butthole Surfer's Humpty Dumpty LSD, which is like a compilation of outtakes during the studio periods of Locust Abortion Technician and Hairway to Steven, which are like my 2 favorite. Hairway to Steven's my favorite Butthole Surfers album. So I thought, oh, I'll get that. And then I don't know, I used to have it on CD and I sold it back. There was a reason why I sold it back, and I just couldn't remember why. It was because the songs just really aren't that great. They're outtakes for a reason. They didn't make the album because they just weren't nearly as good as what did make the album. So, but I bought it, and I got it home, and I thought about it, and I'm like, and I had looked at it on Discogs while I was there at the show, and there was no listing for it. Like, there was a listing, but there were no copies for sale on vinyl. So I thought, okay, well, you know, I should get this because it's high, but it's a decent price. It's not crazy. And you know, if I don't end up wanting it, I could sell it for a decent amount. So as soon as I got home from the record show, I put it up on Discogs. The very first time I ever sold a record on Discogs, I put it up there for a decent amount more than what I paid. So it basically paid for my gas money going back and forth from here to Tucson. That extra little bit that I made, and sold it like within hours of me posting it. So it was happy ending. So yeah, so I bought that, and then I bought this. This is a band called Sound of Ceres, and this is their second studio album called The Twin. And the reason why I bought this, I already have this. And I have I'll show you the one I have. I had this already that I purchased through their Bandcamp. And it's like a, I don't know what you call that, kind of a, it's almost like a skin tone, like a peach, like a really light peach colored vinyl. Anyway, so I already had it. So I'm like, why am I buying this again? Well, it was dirt cheap. I gave him it was already cheap, and I gave the guy an offer that was lower, and he took it. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to just pass this up. It's in fantastic quality condition. So I just went ahead and grabbed it. And the other reason why I grabbed it is because it was on this kind of splatter vinyl, and I just thought, okay, well, I'll get this one, and depending on, I'll listen to both of the records, make sure neither one of them have any faults or defects or anything, and then I'll just keep the one I decide to keep. Maybe I'll keep the splatter one. I don't know. So anyway, and so this is the insert. Comes the lyrics, sing along, and a little etching kind of drawing, the illustration there. And it also came with this flexi disc. It's a Cracked from Side to Side and the Solar Mirror. I don't know if that's 2 songs. I don't know, the Solar Mirror. So it's a flexi disc single that came with this as well. So that was another selling point for me. So yeah, so I went ahead and grabbed it. So the story of Sound of Ceres, there's another band that came before them called Candy Claws, and they're out of Fort Collins, Colorado. They're a shoegaze band, like a new shoegaze band. They formed in like 2007, and they lasted until 2015. They put out 3 records and a bunch of other releases and stuff, internet-only releases, but 3 physical format albums, and maybe a 4th one. They put out one that's like, it was released on a 12-inch, and it's like 2 songs. One song takes up the whole side, and the other song takes up the other side. And each song is like 12 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever. So you could, I guess, maybe technically call that an album, or maybe it's just a 12-inch EP. I don't know. Anyway, so Candy Claws disbanded in 2015, and the 2 main members, Kay and what's this guy's name? I wrote it down. What's his name? Oh, Ryan Hover. So Kay, the singer, and Ryan Hover, who also sings, but they all do the instrumentation as well. They left Candy Claws or whatever, and they formed a new band called Sound of Ceres. So that's the band that I'm talking about. That's what I'm showing. They put out an album recently called The Emerald Sea, and that was 2022. There's a picture of Kay right there on the front. Nice green vinyl. And this is their first album, came out in 2016, called Nostalgia for Infinity. It's really awesome as well. And let's see. So to talk about them, this is how they've been described. So I'm not really good at describing music. So mid-century lounge music, 60s pop, 70s nature documentaries, 90s shoegaze, and then modern sampling techniques. So it's pretty like odd, eccentric music, but really cool, really interesting, really fun to listen to. Sounds to me a lot like science fiction soundtrack music. Just really cool stuff. Sound of Ceres. So, and then I talked about Candy Claws. I'll go ahead and show what I have of Candy Claws. In the Dream of Sea Life, this is their debut album. I don't think it's available on vinyl. I have the CD, which is really, really super hard to find. Yeah, so that's their first album. Their second album, Hidden Lands, not as good, I'd have to say, as their first album or their third album. And then when I ordered this off their Bandcamp, there was a delay. I wasn't hearing anything about it shipping or whatever, so I reached out to the guy at their Bandcamp, and he's like, oh, I'm so sorry, you know, they just missed the order or whatever, and he went ahead and put it in. And when he did that, he included another Sound of Ceres flexi of My Spiral Arm. So yeah, so that was really cool, getting another flexi for them. So another reason why I wanted to get this other one was because I wanted to get the other flexi. Where did it go? There it is. My Spiral Arm and Solar Mirror. So yeah, so I got those 2 flexi discs from them. And then their third album, which is their best, their Pièce de Résistance, is called, what is it? Series and Calypso in the Deep Time. This is the most recent reissue of it. It came with a bonus disc, and the bonus disc is all the songs, but kind of reimagined instrumentals. They're not just, they didn't just strip the vocals out. They actually kind of re-recorded, and they're kind of remixes of the originals, but just instrumental versions. And then this is the reissue that I got a couple years ago of this album, and it's on white vinyl. Anyway, Candy Claus, awesome. Candy Claus and Sound of Ceres, definitely if you're into like shoegaze and kind of interesting electronic sampling kind of music, definitely check them out. Next thing, this is something that I ordered for myself, slowly but surely filling in my Stereolab collection. This is Wow and Flutter single EP 10-inch, and I already had the other one that they released off of this same album called Ping Pong. This is the first single. This is Wow and Flutter, the second single off that album. The album Mars Audiac Quintet is the album I'm speaking of, and that came out in 1994. Yeah, so I got these in, oh, I also forgot to show Candy Claus. They recently, when they did that reissue of that last album I showed you, they released this single on CD, and it came with the reissue of the album. And yeah, it's just one song, but it's a brand new recorded song, and it's excellent. It's one of their best. Anyway. And what is that album? What is that song called? It's called Distortion Spear. So anyway, back to Stereolab. So I already had these 10 inches. I had them in CD format, Ping Pong and Wow and Flutter. Same songs, 4-song EPs on both of these. Same songs that are on these 10-inch versions. And then I also have this, whoa, it's sliding right out of the slipcase there. I have this 7-inch of Wow and Flutter. I think it's got Heavy Denim on the other side is the B side of this. God, okay, let's see. What does it have? Oh no, it's got, yeah, it's got Heavy Denim. So that's what that looks like with the little pink label. Came with this little insert there. And the outer cover was hand created, like they just farted around, I guess, with a bunch of stickers and stamps and paint. And I guess they burned this on a stovetop. They took the paper and just put it on the stovetop and burned it a couple times to make this cover. So they were all done, every one of these releases that they did on 7-inch, they did them all, they're all unique. None of them are the same. So I only bought one of them. I should have grabbed like a few of them, a few variations, but I wasn't thinking that I'd be collecting Stereolab for decades. So I just wasn't in that mindset at the time. And then the album that I'm speaking of, Mars Audiac Quintet. This is the reissue that came out in, was it 2019? Yeah, 2019. It's the expanded version. It's got 3 discs. And this is the limited edition that came in the clear vinyl. Really awesome. I think it's their first really great album. They put out a whole bunch of great albums after this, but I think this is the one that really they found their sound and their mojo. I also have this other reissue. I forget the year on this, 2013, I think. On 1972 is the record label that released this reissue. It's only 2 discs. It's just the songs that came on the album. It didn't come with any bonus songs. I still need to get an original. So one of these days I will come up with an original. That's my goal, is to have the original and then the 1972 record label, not 1972 year, but the 1972 record label, get that reissue and then get the expanded version. I have most of them. I have 2 of like every, but I need 3. So anyway, and then the CD of Mars Audiac Quintet. This is the import version. It's a double disc. It's got a bonus CD with 2 extra songs on it, Clang Tone and Ulan Bator. Yeah, so I've had this forever. Originally, I bought just the original domestic version that was on like Elektra. But then I saw this and it had the bonus CD, so I sold back the Electra domestic version and got this import version. It's on Duophonic. And then this is the expanded version that just came out in 2019 on CD. It's like 2 CDs and it's got all the bonus tracks and all that business. So yeah, so that's enough of that era of Stereolab. Eventually I'm gonna have to do a whole Stereolab video, but it's gonna take so freaking long. Next thing, so I talked about a record that I saw at the record show in Tucson. It was a Grail, and I've always wanted to get a copy of it. I had it when I was in high school, and then I sold it, like I did with all my records, like we all did back in the late 80s or whatever. And I always wanted to get this one back. It's a hardcore punk album, and it's a local band. And the thing is that I've always wanted to get this album, not just to have it because I love the music, but whenever we do these like threads or do these tags, vinyl tags, every once in a while there's a vinyl tag where they'll say, you know, show something that's like a local band. And I always wanted to show this record, and I haven't had it for so long. So now I finally have it, and it's this band, JFA, Jodie Foster's Army. They're out of Phoenix. I think their record label, it's on Placebo Records, out of Phoenix, but I don't know if they were based in Phoenix or they were based in Tempe, Arizona, but I've always wanted to get this back. This is a first pressing on Placebo, which is really nice. And how you know it's the first pressing is it's got a green label on it. And I think the later pressings had red labels and yellow labels, but the green is the original. So this is like hardcore punk, skate punk. They've got a couple of surfer type songs on here. Walk, Don't Run, and what's the other one? Baja. Kind of in the vein of like, you know, Agent Orange kind of surf punk kind of songs that are fantastic. I love this. I love this band, and I'm so happy to have this album. It's been a Grail, and it's been very expensive, and it's been out of print for a long time, so I'm really happy to have it. Comes with this, not all of the copies that you find online will have this insert, but it's lyrics to some of the songs. This picture, I remember drawing this picture when I was in high school. A friend of mine had done like a poem for like a literature type release or whatever in high school. And he did a poem, and he wanted me to draw something for him for the poem. And the poem was about skateboarding. So I just basically reproduced this drawing or whatever in pen and ink. And so it's just really wild to see this again. And not my drawn version, but the original. And then the back has this like catalog of various JFA records that you can order by mail order. Yeah, so I don't know. I love all these songs. Like I said, the thing I was trying to explain them to Courtney. Brian, the singer, it's just the band is really tight and they're very fast, which I love. And Brian is just chaos. Like his vocals are just chaos. He doesn't really, I guess maybe just how I interpret it, he doesn't really like, his timing is off. Like he just kind of sings to his own kind of timing, and it's not really tight with the beat of the music, I guess, is how I think of it. Kind of reminds me a little bit of David Yow from the Jesus Lizard and Scratch Acid, but he's just kind of a chaotic singer. He's not very good. His voice is not very good. I just love it. Like, it's so freaking, I just, not to sound corny, but it's just so punk. His vocal style is just awesome. I just love it. I laugh when I listen to their music. It's just fantastic. So that's why this is a Grail of mine, and I'm so happy to finally have this in my collection. Fantastic. Jodie Foster's Army out of Phoenix. Next one. God, I hope I'm not missing anything from my notes. So the next one is a new release, and this band has been out. They've been out of this music scene for so long. It's like you just figure they'll never release anything, and they'll never tour. It's just this great band from back in the mid to late 80s and early 90s, and they're gone now, and that's just the way it is. And it's this band called the Wolfgang Press, and I've shown their records before here. I have all their studio albums except for the first one, Burden of Mules, and their last one before this one called, God, I'm going to blank on it now that I'm trying to, Funky Little Demons. And I'm still looking for that. That's a grail on my want list, and I'm still looking for an affordable vinyl copy of that. But until then, they put out a new album just this past month, October. This came out, and it's called A Second Shape, and it's Michael Allen and one of the other two guys, and the other guy left the band. There were three guys. One of the guys left the band, and so the other guy that stayed with Michael, and I didn't write their names down, and I thought I would be able to remember them, but I can't right now. But anyway, his brother joined the band, so now there's three guys, but it's just the third guy's a different guy. But anyway, man, I don't really know how to explain this music. It is very different. If you listen to Funky Little Demons or the album before that, Queer, the direction that they were going in was kind of funky indie pop kind of music. Still had their very independent and very eccentric kind of tone and vibe about it, but they definitely weren't going in this direction. And Michael Allen had another project after Wolfgang Press, and it's called Geniuser. And I think this is closer to what that band kind of sounds like. It's very dark, it's very moody, somber. Yeah, it's just a totally different vibe. It's not the upbeat, funky, heavy percussion kind of music. It's much more low key, down tempo. But I'm really liking it. Like at first, when I first heard it, actually they released a single called Sad Surfer. And I've been listening to that for a couple of months and getting used to it and stuff. And it was different, but I kind of liked it. But I thought, oh, well, that's kind of an outlier. Maybe the rest of the album is going to sound like the old Wolfgang Press. But it turns out kind of the whole album sounds like this new single that they put out, Sad Surfer. It's just different, but it's kind of one of those albums that's growing on me. It's not an immediate hit, but it's growing on me. The more I listen to it, the more I start to really like things about it. It's definitely in my top 5 for the year as far as new releases for this year. It's definitely top 5, but I'm not sure exactly where in that top 5 this one's going to fall. I'm still going to just keep listening to it, and I'll decide at the end of the year. The songs that I'm really digging on it, I wrote down. Take It Backwards is really good. That's kind of more of a lot more percussion in that one, a lot more of a heavy beat to it. I like that. And Sad Surfer, I like the original single. And then the very last song, Glacier. There's only 9 songs on this album. I don't know, I like it. They just recently did a live performance in Poland. Chris Big, who is the artist, he actually worked on this album, cover artwork. Chris Big, he's from 4AD, 23 Envelope. He did a lot of work on all the 4AD bands like the Pixies and Breeders and all that kind of stuff. He had like a retrospective art show or whatever there at this, I don't know if it was like a festival or something, but he had like an art show showing his work. He was there, and Wolfgang Press played a live show. And you can see it if you go onto YouTube. You can see excerpts from the show, and it's really nice. They played the song My Life, which is my favorite Wolfgang Press song, so I was really happy about that. The guys look pretty advanced in their years, but they sounded great. Michael's voice sounds awesome. He's got a very deep kind of baritone voice, and that's not really my thing. I've never been a fan of baritone voices, but his is just, I don't know, it's just different, I guess. I guess it's because I've been listening to it for so long. I'm just totally used to it. I don't know if a singer came out like now and sounded like that, if I would get into the music, but I've always loved Wolfgang Press. They've always been one of my favorite 4AD bands and one of my favorite bands in general. Really happy to see them put out a new album. And I'm not sure that it was kind of a limited release, this record. So I went ahead and made sure I ordered it nice and early. And I don't know how many copies of this are out, but I'm not even sure if it's still available, if you can still get it firsthand from directly from the band or whatever, or if you have to go onto Discogs and buy it, you know, on the second market. But definitely check it out, give it a listen, like on Spotify or whatever, and I don't know, listen before you buy, because it might be just one of those records that's for the big fans, the longtime fans, because I definitely am enjoying it. And I hope they go on tour. Everybody's been talking about it on Facebook, you know, are they going to tour? Are they going to do a full tour? I don't know. I haven't heard anything yet. There's been no announcements, but I'm sure they're not going to come to Phoenix. I'm sure they're going to do limited. If they do any like US dates, it's going to be like the coasts, the East Coast and the West Coast, maybe Chicago. If they come to LA, I'll definitely travel to LA to see them, because I never got a chance to see them back in the day. So yeah, Wolfgang Press, Second Shape, excuse me. And this is the inner sleeve. It's just a reproduction of the cover. And then the back of it is just yellow. And then it's black vinyl. These are what the labels look like, black vinyl. Yeah, Wolfgang Press. Happy to see them back. And then the last thing, this is a record that I had on my want list, like kind of for Christmas, and Courtney went ahead and ordered it, and it came in, and she wanted me to check it to make sure it wasn't warped, because she didn't want to just sit in shrink wrap all the way until Christmas and then find out when it's too late to return to Amazon, because, you know, they have a limited amount of time that you can return something and get your money back. So she wanted to make sure that it was, you know, not broken or warped or anything. So I opened it up and checked it out and listened to it, actually, and it sounds really good. This is a band that I saw at the Totally Tubular Fest when it came around here to Phoenix. It's a 80s revival kind of reunion type festival of different bands, and I saw Bow Wow Wow, and I saw Modern English, and was hoping to see Thomas Dolby, but he was sick that night, so he didn't play. But it was a really cool show, and I'm really glad I went. But the band that really surprised me, and I mentioned this on the video right after the show, the band that really surprised me and I really enjoyed, and they're one of those like one-hit wonders, but I really enjoyed just the stage presence, just the vibe that they had on stage. They were just a lot of fun to watch, really got into it, and it was this band, Man Without Hats. And I just decided, you know what, I want to get them on vinyl. I really appreciate the performance that they gave, because they really just were a lot of fun to watch, and we're not just a bunch of stiffs up there, a bunch of old people, just stiffs like a lot of these bands are. They really put a lot. You can tell that Ivan, the singer, the main dude, you can tell that he really just loves performing and loves his music and loves his fans. And so you could totally feel that in the performance. So I really enjoyed it. I didn't get a t-shirt or anything. The t-shirts were sold out. But I just figured I'll go ahead and buy one of the records. So this is the one that has Safety Dance on it. It's kind of a different mix than what you see like when you watch the music video. I'd like to find maybe the mix that's just the normal short mix. It's on like the extended, like a CD. Like if you get a CD and it's got bonus tracks, it'll have that kind of tightened up version that's on the music video. But that's not what's on here. This is more of, it sounds more like the remix of it. It's kind of drawn out, and it just sounds different. But those bonus tracks don't come on this record. It's just got the songs that came on the original release. So yeah, it's on Backstreet Records, this reissue, and this is what it looks like on the back. And no inserts or anything, just a plain white paper sleeve. But really enjoy it. Sounds great on vinyl. And yeah, Men Without Hats. Very cool. So I think that's it for right now. So I got a couple of concerts coming up. I'll do a video, talk about that. I'll do a video after Christmas, of course, and talk about the records that I get there. I don't know if I'm going to be getting any records between now and then. It depends on if I go to a record store and they have anything. I'm just really like filling in like a lot of my collections, like Stereolab and stuff. I'm just finding the things that I still need to get and looking for good prices on it, and then I snatch those up. So, and then if any kind of Grail comes up, I'll try to grab it, like that JFA record. But for them, I'm just not just grabbing it. I know the new Cure album came out and it sounds really good. I just don't know if I want to buy like every Cure album. I have the ones that I really, really love, and I think I'm kind of good with that. I think I'll just listen to the new album on Spotify or whatever. And unless like down the road it ends up becoming like one of my favorite Cure albums, then maybe I'll get it on vinyl. But and I'm okay getting it on black vinyl. I don't really mind. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I need to get caught up on all comments. People have been leaving comments, and I've been just kind of out of it. So I'll get caught up on all those comments. I really appreciate it when you guys do that. I like the back and forth with everybody, and everybody has great comments to give me, and not too many criticisms, which is good. And I love you guys. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all soon. Take care.